Hello and welcome to the Wad Fam Chalk Pod. I'm Dylan Weaver.
And I'm Andrew Sabo.
And we're here this week to talk about episode 681 of Adventures in Odyssey, The Green Ring Conspiracy, Part 3.
That we are. This one is interesting. I have thoughts. We'll get into it.
Ooh, Andrew has thoughts. A first for this show.
Yeah. It doesn't happen most of the time, but sometimes one will just rattle its way through my skull. And thank goodness I've got this podcast so I can make it all your problem.
Amen to that. We're just doing like abbreviated context here off the top, so we're going to jump right into cast.
Let's go.
We have an exciting new major character for Odyssey appearing in this episode for the first time, Pennywise.
Yeah. Thoughts on Penny?
I think she gets better as time goes on, but I don't dislike her.
Yeah, I agree. I think that they do a lot with her character, and I didn't realize that she was introduced this late. I thought that she was pre-album 50, but I guess that makes sense now that she's...
This is her appearance. So, and she is voiced by Kimmy Robertson, who we previously talked about when we did Pokenberry Christmas. Because she plays the concierge at the Twin Peaks Motel, because she is Lucy in Twin Peaks, and Twin Peaks: The Return. Ooh.
Can you tell Dylan likes Twin Peaks?
I really like Twin Peaks, guys. There's a little blurb in the new version of the official guide. That just says, Paul McCusker wrote the part of Pennywise with actress Kimmy Robertson in mind. Paul remembered Kimmy from a TV show he had seen.
Dang.
That show, Twin Peaks, but we can't say that because it's Focus.
Yeah. That's actually really funny. And
I know.
I mean... Does that answer some questions? I feel like we had a question previously as to whether the Twin Peaks references were conscious or not.
Oh, no, the Twin Peaks references we knew were conscious.
Okay.
Like, we kind of came to that conclusion on air. But yeah, I mean, they're for sure real. But yes, that is a nice other additional little feather in the cap, so to speak. Or a feather duster in the cap, because she also plays the feather duster in Beauty and the Beast.
Wow.
And
so hot to so not. I mean, Penny does not sound, well.
I mean, you've seen the character artwork for Penny.
Yeah, no, I mean, I dig the hat and the big glasses look. She sounds a little bit like an old lady. Just a little bit. Like in the timbre of her voice.
Yes, that's probably because she's being played by an older woman.
Oh, that would make sense. That's unfortunate. Well, I mean, not really unfortunate. Okay, we're done.
Yeah. She also, and I think we talked about this before, but she also voiced Dot in the animated Tick cartoon, which makes me happy. That's Arthur's sister. And just as a reminder for listeners, in that show, Townsend Coleman plays the Tick. Our boy Jason.
Yeah.
All right, so that's Kimmy Robertson, Pennywise. We also have Steve Franken voicing Benjamin Trask. He was just kind of a actor for hire, has like 180 credits on IMDb, but mostly just one-off appearances in TV shows. Nothing too prominent. He played a character called Brandon in an episode of Seinfeld, which I only bring up because Seinfeld. And he was in the original Bewitched, playing 6 different characters.
Interesting.
Which is weird. I don't understand how old TV works. But one of those characters, which he portrayed twice, named George Barkley.
Wow.
Yep.
Do you think that, like...
No.
It was an accidental...
no connection. It is just funny. And
I really hope he's not aware of that joke.
Whit doesn't believe in coincidence, so I guess it was intentional, but just not by human intentions.
Or it's been ordained,
right? For sure. He also these episodes aired in like spring to summer of 2011. He passed away in 2012.
Oh, okay.
At age 80. So he is a 78, 79-year-old man recording these parts. And,
for Benjamin as Benjamin Trask. Wow.
Yep.
That's crazy. I mean, good on them. I guess voice actors are specially endowed in that way, where if they could maintain their voice, they can really do a lot of things late into their career.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, always cool.
And he sounds great here.
Yeah, I agree. I always like it when they pull someone like that. And then we also have Diane Shu playing Agent Lauren Taylor.
Okay.
From the Secret Service. She doesn't have any notable IMDb credits, but she was the voice of Doris Rathbone in Doris Rathbone's last 2 appearances.
Oh, on album 50?
Yeah, 50 and before, because Rathbones haven't existed since 50. But yeah, and Doris has only been in 12 episodes or something. Mm-hmm. She was originally voiced by Pamela Hayden, who also was the original voice of Katrina. But then when she left and didn't come back, they ended up getting Diane Shu to voice Doris twice, and then brought her back here as Agent Lauren Taylor, which could not be further from those voices could not be further apart.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So, is there a promo for this one?
Yes, sir, and I will be rolling it now.
Odyssey is full of people looking for Whit's grandson.
Detective Don Polhouse, Odyssey Police.
Lou Ross, Hospital Security.
Agent Lauren Tanner, U.S. Secret Service.
Why has Monty disappeared?
He may have suffered a head injury in the crash.
He's a rogue agent. We believe he's now working with a counterfeiting ring.
The Green Ring conspiracy continues to unfold on the next Adventures in Odyssey.
Two things. One, I wrote down in that context thing, her as Agent Lauren Taylor. It's Tanner. I'm just dumb.
Yeah.
So thank you, promo, for offering that correction. And additionally, they make it sound like it is way more about Maury this episode than what it is.
You mean Monty?
I do mean Monty. And thank God for that.
Let's now. Say we can't mention his name lest he appear. It's like Beetlejuice, a movie that nobody that listens to Adventures in Odyssey has seen.
I
don't think that there's a whole lot of overlap.
There's probably not a ton of crossover, but it's I don't know. It's
it's a cultural
classic.
touchstone.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, Monty is, I mean, they talk about him a decent bit, I suppose, but yeah, no,
I mean,
he does not drive the plot in this episode by any means.
Right, he definitely plays a role, and he's maybe the most interesting thing going on here, just because it's the mystery part, but so much of this episode is Connie and Penny, and then also just Polhouse continuing to investigate.
Yeah, and also why wouldn't you take that promo to introduce a new character that you're planning on making a runner in the show?
Well, so here's the thing, is they weren't trying to make her a runner.
Oh.
We can get into this more as we go, but their original intentions for Penny were different than what they got.
Okay.
When they had her there in the studio, they were like, "Oh, we really like the way this is working," and Katie Lee pushed really hard for her to come on and be a friend for Connie.
Mm-hmm.
But that was not the original intention when they created her. When they brought her in. McCusker wrote this part for Kimmy Robertson, but it was not
she's gonna marry Wooten and all of that.
Right, it wasn't this big recurring role that they were setting up. It was just oh yeah, she's going to be a character in this saga.
Well, it's a good,
and then,
I mean, as
the
we
rest
know,
of them just kind of go on their way.
Yeah, Benjamin Trask, it makes sense that you would need a bridge between Connie and Dr. Trask, I suppose, or Professor Trask. But Yeah, it's I don't know. I really like what they do with her in this album, but overall, I think they do a decent job with the character. They give her a lot more complexity. I also never realized how big of a player Katie Lee has been in Odyssey over the years. Like, she's appeared in more episodes than any other voice actor, and now really is carrying like the bulk of the plot burden of New Odyssey.
Yeah, I mean, there is definitely an element of that. I think, unfortunately, like, she is in the majority of, or she is in more episodes than anyone else. However, I don't think, like,
she doesn't do more than everybody else. She probably does less.
Right. This is exactly the thing. Is I think it would be interesting. Well, and obviously, like, as an actress, Katie Lee has appeared, but as a character, Wit is more prevalent than Connie.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, I also feel like Connie doesn't get as many, like, A-plot episodes.
Yeah.
Like, it's rare that she is, like, the driving force behind stuff. I think that, like, especially during the era where, like, Kathy Buchanan is writing a lot of, like, Connie stuff, we do get more of that.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think, on average, if you're going to go, like, who is the main character of the episode, it would be interesting to see where Connie stacks up.
Yeah.
Because it's also, like, it's not Wit that often either.
No.
Like,
no.
But then Wit gets, like, these big power play arcs and whatever that all revolve around him in a way that, like, Connie never really gets, like, a bigger storyline that revolves around her, aside from, like, the Connie and Mitch stuff.
Yeah, and the conversion arc, I would say, was probably pretty big.
No, that's fair. Like, the first year of the show is pretty Connie heavy.
Yeah.
I think the problem is we get into this is
becomes ambiguous.
They end the conversion arc, then she just kind of has her place as, like, foil to Eugene, occasional Wit Jr. person in the shop, and doesn't really get stuff again until maybe Mitch. Like, I feel like there's a long period where, like, she occasionally gets, like, she maybe gets, like, an episode or two an album.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that they're giving her a lot more work now, I think, with everything with Jules, and Buck and all of that, and post Green Ring Odyssey. I think that she probably gets a lot more work, but even then, I think that you're right, where she doesn't get many A plots. She just becomes to be more of a Wit surrogate.
Yeah, but also, like, I don't know. Like, I don't necessarily need the adults in the show to be taking up a bunch of A spots. Like,
no, yeah. I mean, it would be nice, and I like what they've done with her. Like, obviously, I really hope that they make Connie a counselor. I really hope that she does that. And, I mean, that would be so cool. And it would play very well in what she's doing at Wit's End and everything like that. So I think that there's potential for her character for sure.
Yeah. And we're always happy to see Connie in whatever capacity she's in. So.
Yeah.
And it's especially looping back to kind of where we started with this, like, behind the scenes, it definitely seems like Katie Lee plays a pretty instrument.
Yeah.
Like, there's been a couple instances where she's come up in, like, the official guide and whatnot as, like, pushing really hard for one thing or another.
Mm-hmm. Where she, like, really puts her weight behind it.
Yeah, and I just, like, appreciate that because, and it's a thing you see with, like, a lot of, like, television shows. Actors who have been there for a while often, like, start getting producer credits and start, like, directing episodes or whatnot. And we obviously don't have that clear a path with Katie Lee, but she definitely, she's been playing the same character for,
20 plus
30,
years.
30 some years, Andrew.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
yeah.
It's, you kind of, I don't know.
He gets some authority.
Gives you a special perspective.
Yeah, definitely. Well, and considering, I mean, how old she was when she started the show versus how old she is now.
Yeah, I mean, it's 30 years.
Yeah, it's 30 years. But in a certain sense, like, I think, yeah, there's no shock there in that over 30 years she developed as a person.
Yeah. So yeah, this episode starts then with Connie taking a college art class.
Yeah, really
is
good sound engineering for the classroom.
Oh, absolutely. This is Connie's first dipping into college.
Is
After
it?
20 years of the show, there is a nice note in the official guide that just says Connie was 15 when Adventures in Odyssey began. It took 11 years for her to graduate high school and another 13 for her to start college.
Wow.
Yep. And then specifically they were referencing, I guess there's an episode on album 29 called The Painting, where Connie said that she was thinking about majoring in art.
That, I mean, okay.
And so they did this.
Do you think that wit gives benefits? Like, how?
I don't know. Like, it's weird, but, like, also, like, in the meantime, she's,
Launched several businesses and
right,
done
launched
a whole
businesses, been engaged, like...
Yeah.
Like, it's not like she's just been, like, doing nothing for years. And even this doesn't feel like... Like, I think what they're getting into now with, like, the counselor stuff might be more of, like, hey, Connie's, like, trying to, like, get a degree.
Yeah.
This feels like she's just trying to, like, take a course to expand on some skills.
Mm-hmm.
At least that's kind of how Wit and Eugene referenced it in the previous episode.
No, yeah. It's for her dreams by Constance endeavor, to quote a phrase.
Yep.
Yeah, so this is also the first scene where we get introduced to Pennywise, who sits next to Connie in the class.
Yep.
And it's a really, really fun dynamic that they have where you're hearing Dr. Benjamin Trask talking in the back room, and you're hearing his lecture, and you're hearing their conversation of kind of getting to know each other and all the anxiety.
The immediate elephant in the room of, wait, did you say Pennywise? As in, like, Pennywise and a pound foolish? And she's like, yep. And you're Connie Kendall. Like, Connie Kendall kicked a copper kettle carelessly. Because every name should have an expression, which is a thing you think of when you have a name like Pennywise.
Yeah, and it was that moment I knew she was perfect for Wooten, honestly. I was like, oh, yeah, man.
They do have a good dynamic. More on that in the future. But yeah, it is just it's fun to just have this dynamic. This is not an area we've really gotten to explore before, and so Dr. Trask. I don't know.
I don't know that he has his doctorate. I mean, it's pretty hard to get a doctorate in art. So
Benny Trask.
Yeah, we'll call him Benny. Benny and the Trask.
Benny and the Trask. He's kind of giving the intro to the course, and Connie and Penny are like whispering back and forth, saying like, Connie's like, I don't know that I have any skill.
Yeah.
And Penny's like, oh, I did, it'll be easy, Dr. Trask. I'm just going with it. Whatever.
Yeah.
Tweet at us if we suck, but I'm just saying Dr. Trask because that's what's rolling out of my mouth.
That's okay. That's fine. I'm okay with this. We need to set a standard here. And Dr. Trask, I mean, most of my professors are doctors, and like to acknowledge it. Just pay respect where respect is due. So,
yeah,
we might regret thinking highly of him, but I suppose we had Dr. Regis Blackard, so doctorates don't always mean good people in Odyssey.
Well, and we just last time. What we talked about Perfect Witness. The villain was a doctor professor, right?
Oh yeah, did he have his doctorate?
Sure.
Odyssey
just doesn't like people in the
higher
education.
They challenge our thought.
Oh no. So yeah, Penny then goes on to explain that she's taken all of Trask's classes.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. And then I'm like, this is an intro to art class, so I guess she's just taking them because of Trask.
Definitely. Like, this is the last one on the checklist.
Yeah.
Did you ever have, like, the same professor more than once intentionally in college?
No, but I had the same professor more than once just because of, like, how majors work.
Yeah, that's fair. This was my first semester where I, like, found out what class my favorite professor was teaching, and I took that class. It just so happened that it was also a class I would have needed to take anyway at some point.
Nice.
So,
I had a really good, my first semester I had this great English teacher who was awesome. And she had a really good relationship with our class. We were the only section that she brought in donuts for on the last day.
Nice.
Like we had like a great thing going, and we got, I don't know if it was to all of us or to a selection of us, but I was definitely one of them, where she sent us an email and was just like, hey, I'm teaching this class next semester. I would love to have you in it. And I was just like, oh, that like warms my heart, but like that is not a class that will, like, I would get no credit for taking that.
Yeah. Well, and that's what happened with me and insert counseling professor from LBC here. I took a 2-part counseling class with her my first and second semester there, and at the end of my second semester she was like, hey, I'm teaching this other class with another professor that I super love. So I was like, oh my gosh, this is an absolute win. And then of course COVID got in the way, and we barely meet, like.
Oh right.
Yeah, unfortunately. It was supposed to be like, I was supposed to travel internationally with 2 of my favorite professors. It would have been so much fun.
A true bummer.
Yeah.
So Penny just takes all of Trask's classes. Connie's super nervous about this one, and Penny's like, well, look, he's gonna pair us up. He always does that. So like, let's be a pair.
Yeah. And Connie's like, oh, I think you're my new best friend. And it's so cute.
Yes, and I did write down low bar.
Yeah.
Like, who was Connie's old best friend?
Yeah, I mean, she doesn't really, she's got Eugene.
Right. Uh-huh.
And Whit. Yeah, I mean, Whit's pretty nice, but
like,
he's certainly not a peer.
Her and Katrina have a good thing before, like, Katrina gets married.
Yeah.
And then I feel like that kind of ends.
Yeah. No, Connie doesn't have any peers. I mean, we've definitely been over this before.
Yeah, we've talked about it a lot. And Odyssey is aware of it. Like, in the book, they talk about, they're like, it's always been hard for us to find what did they say? We wondered perhaps if Penny could be a friend Connie's age, that elusive character we had never been able to create in many years of doing the series.
Yeah.
So like they know.
They know that they've been slacking in the Connie having friends department. Yeah. I mean, well, it's true though.
Peers.
Yeah, peers. Very little. Poor Connie. But they do have a good dynamic, and it does make me happy to like kind of hear that character hitting it off so well.
Yeah.
And so then the next scene is, or I guess we cut to Whit and Dr. Graham and hospital security, kind of picking up where the last episode ended about Monty being missing.
Yep. So they're playing back security footage of Monty sneaking out. This is, oh gosh, what's his name? Lou Ross. I wanted to say Lou Reed, and I was like, no, I know it's not Lou Reed.
If he's there, it's only to steal the drugs.
And so it's the security guard is kind of recapping all this, kind of proving that they saw him, and they're like, how did he go from like unconscious to escaping in an hour? And they're just like, well, whatever.
Bang energy.
Yep. Maybe he was faking unconsciousness. I don't know. Can you do that with monitors hooked up to you? Let me know, Shock Squad.
Pull a Sherlock and like actually stop your heartbeat.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. I mean, the Secret Service, trains you in that for sure, right?
Yeah. Conscious control of vital organs.
Yeah. And so, yeah, so the security guard's like, hey, Wit's like, all right, I'm going to tell Jana, let her know that he's gone. And the security guard's like, no, Wit, we got to keep this on the down low.
That's
Don't
why
tell
you
any
know.
more people about. Right. And I'm just like, oh, finally? Like,
Yeah.
we're finally keeping this on the down low? And then we literally cut to a scene where Eugene is aware of Monty.
Yeah, no, it's certainly not on the down low. There is no regard for HIPAA or privacy or...
Yeah. Or, U.S. security? Like,
Yeah,
I don't
national
know. We
security?
exposed a Secret Service agent to a bunch of people?
Well, it's just because Wit knows he's not bad, Like,
Right.
he's got it deep within him that he knows that Monty's in the right here. In the same way that he knew that Novacom was wrong.
Yep.
It's
true.
Yeah, so then we cut to Eugene and Emily back at Wit's End, waiting for the detective to show up.
Yeah, well, so Polehouse shows up. He to get the backpack.
Mm-hmm.
He puts on gloves to examine it, and Emily starts geeking out because
She's a
Detective
child
Emily-
and she's excited, and he's like, "No, it's so I don't give the money any icky germs."
See, this is the problem, and I don't know if this is Phil Proctor's performance or if this is intentional in the writing, but like Polehouse doesn't seem like a standoffish grump in this scene. He seems like a guy who is like focused on doing his job, and like I don't know, at least like his little quips and whatnot to me read more as dry humor than as like guy who is mad at the world.
Yeah, which I don't understand then what they want from him.
Right.
I
This is exactly it. I don't know if this was like just them not directing Proctor's performance particularly well, or if this was like written intentionally to be like if this is what they wanted, where they're like, we want to like give the man a little bit of humanity. It's just in such contrast to all the stuff we've gotten previously.
Yeah, well, and it feels kind of like he's supposed to be the comedic relief in an otherwise like very serious scene, and it just doesn't really land because it doesn't match the character, and it's not really delivered in a very transparent way.
Like, for me, the dry humor worked.
Oh, no, yeah, I mean, it's iconic, and I don't give the money any icky germs is imprinted on my brain.
It's really funny, right?
Yeah. And, he has a line later, when Buck asks him about the backpack, and he says, I bought it because it matches the coffee stains on my shirt. Like, that actually made me laugh. So, we also see that Oliver Twist is in the side pocket. There was only one bill that was removed. Other kind of clues. There's no inscription in the inside of the book, but there was a flight plan for the crashed airplane. And then, it's the same flight. And then there's also a last-minute revised plan to go
originally headed to Chicago, then it was changed to Atlanta.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There's also a map with Trickle Lake circled.
Mm-hmm. Right next to Forest Mountain, and a series of numbers that don't really have any known meaning.
Right. So the other thing we got to hit on here, because it's an important lens for this or whatever. Oliver Twist is like thematically relevant to this saga, but also to specifically like the Buck and Mr. Skint relationship.
Oh, okay.
So for one, Buck Oliver, the Oliver is from Oliver Twist.
Oh,
that
makes
Buck
sense.
is because they name a bunch of the characters who appear first in this arc after money, because it's all about these stolen bills, which is also how we get Pennywise and like Wally Hagler.
Wow. Yeah. Now that I think about it, they really do all be like that. I wonder if is a Trask any form of currency?
I don't know anything about. I don't think I can come up with anything for Trask. Dirk begs. Obviously, he begs.
Yeah.
There's some
A pole house.
Yeah,
whatever that is.
For sure. Yep, 100%. So there's that whole element. And then there's also the Oliver Twist. I don't know what all you know about Oliver Twist.
I never read it. I know that it takes place on like the streets, and it tracks kind of like a street rat kid in like the mid 1800s or early 1800s in England.
Yeah, I think it's actually the late 1800s.
Oh, late
still,
1800s.
Yes, we're in London, and there is the character of Oliver Twist, who's this orphan kid on the streets,
pickpocket,
right? And the character of Fagin, who is the kind of like father figure / handler for crime involving Oliver Twist. Like it is the Buck and Mr. Skint dynamic.
Yeah,
is what they're going for. The other thing, so if you want kind of I don't know, to see the same kind of dynamic played out in a different way, in kind of like a modern spin, whatever, there is a movie that I think is quite good called August Rush.
Oh, I've heard of it.
That has kind of a similar
vibe
dynamic. Robin Williams, Freddie Highmore, good kind of play on this whole like Oliver Twist kind of dynamic of like, hey, orphan kid getting taken under the wing of like a shady guy. And so so that's kind of our thing. And interestingly, the next, so kind of simultaneously with Odyssey, since like the 90s, we're getting these Focus on the Family radio theater, which is like taking either like, I mean, they did Chronicles of Narnia, but not necessarily Christian stuff, but just like older works. There's a lot of stuff that's like public domain.
Yeah.
And doing like really good, dramatized versions of them. And so the one that they do, the one that they do around the same time as the Green Ring Conspiracy is an Oliver Twist.
Oh, okay.
Thing. So if you want to grasp on the Oliver Twist story and how that might,
I can give Focus even more of my money.
Yeah, I don't know if radio theater is part of the AIO Club or not, but
best not risk it. I
Anyways,
guess I'll just have to watch August Rush instead.
Yeah, so that's our whole
Oliver Twist bit.
Yeah.
So this is when Buck walks in, and he is immediately recognized by Detective Polehouse, and he kind of plays it off like, "Oh, well, I'm still hanging up posters," and he mentions the backpack, and this is when Polehouse drops the line of, "I bought it because it matches the coffee stains on my shirt," and it's an interesting scene here. He has a poster. Eugene tells him to put it up in the little theater and keep it orderly, please. And then Buck wants to apply to Wit's End. And Emily just goo goo gaga, like Looney Tunes eyes pops out of her head.
Crushing
for Buck.
hard on Buck.
Yeah, to which I'm like, poor Emily. She needs... If Emily was a real person, she would probably not be straight anymore after Maury and Buck.
Oh, yeah, that is... I mean, she didn't really crush on Maury, right?
I really hope not, but still.
There's still time.
She's been abused by enough men in her life.
She really, really has. It is rough. It's a very... Lucy Maxwell dynamic.
Yes, 100%.
Buck there's not quite as much of an age gap, and he is not quite as greasy.
No.
But he does like dial the charm up to 11.
Yeah. No, Southern just like... Yeah, he knows what's happening, and he is using it to his advantage.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to start. Before we jump to the next scene,
No,
I
you're
want
good.
to round out the little Oliver Twist thing that I forgot to say, which
Okay.
is the book is in the side pocket of the backpack. That was like you've got like the flight plan and the map and that stuff is clearly placed there by Dirk, but Oliver Twist being in the side pocket is the kind of the closing of the loop from the first episode, or the last episode, I guess, the second episode, where Skint is asking Buck about the backpack. Oh, was there anything in it? And he kind of like starts to, and then it's just kind of like, no, it's fine. And so obviously that is Oliver Twist is the thing that's in there. And like, it's one of those things where it's like, this doesn't actually have like any value. It's totally replaceable. But just the idea of like, oh yeah, Buck is like, spending his evenings reading Oliver Twist. Is
And
just
it's something that leads back to him.
Yeah,
It's
and
very
like,
cool.
Means something to him and whatever. Like I don't know. I just like it.
So
like
it was initially Dirk Beggs' backpack?
No. So remember, Mr. Skint took that backpack, filled it with the money, gave it to Dirk.
Yeah.
With Buck's book still in it. Then Dirk took the backpack, presumably put the map and the flight plan in it, jumped on the plane. The backpack fell out of the plane during the struggle when it crashed, and then Emily found it.
Okay. That makes sense. For some reason, I thought it was Monty's backpack, but then I guess this scene would definitely contrast it.
Right, for sure. Because Buck was kind of sent out to go find the backpack full of money.
Yeah.
And this is him finding it. And then,
So, this is also Emily hints at the fact that she has a detective agency. Buck wants to apply to Wits End because, I love this place. And this is when Emily's kind of like, oh, I haven't seen you around here. I would remember.
yes,
crushing.
is just
Goo Goo Gaga.
rolling his eyes.
Yeah.
Audibly.
Yeah. An excellent vocal performance by Sir Will Ryan.
Yep.
And then
we then go to Connie and Penny.
Yeah, back in Dr. Trask's art class. Ooh, an
Connie
TV show.
Connie is feeling very bad about her art, and Penny is trying to, inspire her or encourage her a little bit. She says, capability, the saying, capability is the soil on which our talent grows. And Connie's like, no, who said that? She's like, I just did.
But it sounds pretty neat, doesn't it?
Right.
Yeah.
And Connie just kind of like, oh.
Yeah.
And then,
we get the bit with the rabbit and the fangs.
Right. So Penny asks what that drawing is. She's like, a rabbit. She's like, with fangs? And she's like, yeah, like I was drawing it from memory. I remember. She's like, you must not have very good memories of rabbits. So are you familiar with the child's book series, Banicula?
No.
This was very formative to me.
Okay. There was a Goosebumps book that had a bunny rabbit with fangs on it that I remember from my childhood, to which, like, when she was talking about the rabbit with fangs, I was like, whoa.
Right, yeah, and whereas I immediately went to the Great Banicula.
Wow, that is something to behold. For the listeners, it's spelled Bunnicula.
Yep.
Look it up and
with the tagline,
mystery.
Today vegetables, tomorrow the world. And I did spend a lot of time reading Banicula and all of the related books. That was like a seminal series for me.
Wow. I mean, It was about an evil rabbit?
Yeah, I don't remember a lot about it, I'm gonna be honest.
Was the rabbit inherently, it looks evil.
Yeah, I think it was like, told from the perspective of this rabbit who was like genuinely helpless, but also like,
Dracula?
Yeah.
Okay.
And there was a whole bunch of related books, including
Watership
one called Banicula Meets Edgar Allan Poe.
Wow.
And I did not know this, but there was apparently an animated series, which I have no idea when that came out or where that aired, but I did not know anything about it.
That is terrifying. The Bunnicula cartoon's eyes are very red in like a very bloodshot way.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's a children's novel series about a vampire rabbit named Bunnicula who sucks the juice out of vegetables. There's 7 books, released from 1979 to 2006.
Interesting. Wow, that sounds like fairly normal, and then fun concept for a book with very, very scary artwork.
Yeah, I liked it quite a bit. So anyways, that's what I'm imagining Connie is drawing upon here.
Bunnicula.
Yeah.
The mighty Bunnicula.
Absolutely.
And then, so Penny, it's revealed that Penny's like really good at drawing.
Oh yeah, of course.
She draws like the
a black and white sunset, and Connie's
Yeah.
like, how? And she's like, oh, all the shading.
Yeah,
It's all
it's
in
in
the
the
shading.
shading. Her delivery of that line was when I was like, this is an old person reading this line, isn't there?
And she really wants. Connie's like, really like, I'm gonna drop the class.
Yeah,
And
I had to
then-
give him Big Ben fangs.
Yeah.
Is what she says, and
And then Trask comes over, and he wants to look at her drawings, and she's like, nope, I'm gonna be dropping the class. And Penny just like spreads all of them out across the table, which is really well sound engineered. And then he looks at them and goes like, oh, it's that a rabbit with fangs. And they kind of do that whole bit. And then it's like, oh, what's this one? A plate of roadkill. No, I know it's a hat on a table.
it's a bowl of oatmeal, a hat on a table.
Yeah, I know. I was just kidding. You can clearly see the ribbon there. And then he gets very excited about a reproduction of the Mona Lisa that
Yeah.
like matches the inconsistent background. And
She
that
does,
is-
she does that super well. Which,
Yep.
listen, I don't know that that's how drawing works, where you suck at drawing so much and then you just find one thing that you're really good at doing, like copying other masters' artwork.
Yeah, I mean, I get the idea that she's showing promise in
Yeah.
that area and not the others, and then she's going to get better with time. But it also does, come across as like she's a genius, especially because of the later scene with Penny.
Yeah.
But,
So,
all right.
she asked to show the copy.
Oh yeah, he's
to
gonna
the
show it
class.
to the class. Yeah,
He wants to show your work to the class.
yeah. I like it. I like. the
No,
dynamic.
it's
fun.
really fun. I mean, solid thumbs up from me. So this is when we get Pull House and hospital security.
Yep.
This is all. It all presumably is taking place in one day so far.
correct.
Like
So
the
there
plane
is-
crash was in the morning.
Yep. There is a whole timeline for the Green Ring conspiracy, which I'm trying to pull up now.
Mm-hmm.
It is each day is 3 episodes, so it's 4
Okay.
days total. So this is the end of day 1.
That makes a lot of sense. So this is where they're talking, and I think Agent Tanner is here as well, and they're just kind of having issues finding.
No, this is where Agent Tanner arrives in this scene.
Yes,
She's
yes,
like,
yes.
I'm Agent Laura. What is her line? Now, it's one of those ones that's like glued in my
Yeah.
mind, but I didn't write it down well enough. but
I'm Agent. Wait, what's her first name? Lauren Tanner.
Tanner.
Secret Service.
Yep.
Uh,
But then it's the
something about Monty.
right.
think.
He's a rogue agent,
Oh yeah,
which is
Yeah.
the yeah.
he's in a
I'm Agent Lauren
counterfeiting
Taylor.
ring.
And then it's and she goes to explain this whole thing of like
The
he
lure
was
of the big money was
investigating
just too
right,
much.
investigating investigating this mystery and of this counterfeiting ring. I guess that a lot of that comes later. So this is basically just her saying like, he's a rogue agent, I'm from the Secret Service, And
Yeah,
then
and
everyone
they're
going,
talking about where did he
"What?"
go?
And then they just like jump to the next scene.
Well, we also get Pull House talking about what he did, and he's like, I posted posters of him all around town on milk cartons and shouted "Ollie Ollie income free" in the streets.
Right.
And then, he's like, how far could he have gotten away? And this is when he drops the line, "I once kidnapped a cow after hitting my head in an accident, but that's
Yes.
another story for another time."
Right. This is...
And it's not acknowledged after this, but boy, do I wish it was, because that's the story I want to hear.
Yeah. This is right. This is the thing that we were hitting on earlier, where I'm like, I think Pole House is like great
Fun?
now.
What?
Like he went from me being so mad at him to being like, okay, I get it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, well, and he's talking about coffee and everything like that. He makes some pretty funny jokes.
Yeah. Yeah, he's good.
Yeah, so he's a rogue agent working with the counterfeit wearing what, and then we cut to Buck and Eugene at Wit's End.
Yep.
He filled out the application.
Yep, he's still like being charming to Emily, and then he walks out, calls Skint, and is like, "Hey, the backpack's at Wit's End, or like Pole House took it." And then, like, I'm applying for a job at Wit's End.
And there's a girl here that might lead me right to it, or like help me solve the mystery.
Right. There's also... So when he's explaining the thing with the backpack, he says, "A cop named Pole House took it away." Mm-hmm. And I was like, wait, but why would you say it like that? You already filled Skint in when Pole House was at Wally Hagler's yesterday. So he knows who Pole House is. So why did you say a cop named Pole House?
It's not perfectly consistent, unfortunately. And it's upsetting.
Hey, it's like my only nitpick this episode. So I'm
I mean... well, my nitpick is Buck preying on Emily.
But that is a active choice.
Yeah.
That is not
fair.
like, that's not like a plot frustration or like whatever.
No.
Yeah. And then, so we then we go back to we are cutting back and forth so much during the second half of this episode. It's
because we've got the Buck and Eugene scene, the Wit and the like authority scene, and Penny and Connie. Typically, we just have the two.
Yep. And so we are now jumping back to the hospital. Mm-hmm. They are kind of filling everyone in. We find out the pilot and Dirk are both in critical condition. One here in Odyssey, one in Connellsville.
Dirk Beggs had a blood clot that went to his brain, which I'm pretty sure that's a stroke.
Right. Yeah. I think you're right. But yeah, because of him trying to avoid coming in, this happened, and then
we get Pole House accusing Wally again.
Right. So they're filling in Tanner on kind of what went down and like him being at the Hagler's junkyard, and Wit's like, Wally Hagler's junkyard, and Pole House is like, he's done jail time, like, did you know that? And Wit responds with the best response ever. Good guy Wit back again to say, no, is there a reason I should? Of just like, I don't care that he's done jail time. Like, that's irrelevant. Like, what are you getting at, Pole House?
If that's not what he's
like, I know Wally Hagler.
Yeah. Oh, it's such a good moment. Makes me happy. So we're talking about so the quality of it's a super high quality counterfeit, and Wit is still coming to the defense of Monty. Obviously Tanner is convinced that he's turned, but they want to see the backpack.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, that's
right. Then that's
Tanner's like, we got to go to the police station, see the backpack, and then we jump to Penny and Connie at a restaurant on campus.
The most
where-
popular eatery.
I know, eatery is so weird. I don't know why they said eatery.
Yeah, no. It's just an excuse to make the prices more expensive.
Right. And Penny made the menus. They're like, she like designed them, and they're under like glass on the table, and she did them in like erasable, chalk or whatever. And it's like, yeah, she's just kind of talking about like all this art stuff she does, and Connie's like, yeah, really, really interested. And then Penny's like, look, like, you've got some promise here in doing the replicas. Like, that's a thing that, like, anytime you go to one of like a hospital or like an office building and they've got like art hanging up, it's never the real thing. It's always a replica someone made. Like, we could do that together. And is just kind of, and Connie's like, I don't know, I'm not very good. And Penny's like, you know what your problem is, Connie? Like, you lack confidence. Like, let's do this.
I'm gonna pray that you see your full potential.
Right. And then Connie responds so weirdly.
Yeah.
Where Penny's like, I pray that you see your full potential. And Connie's like,
prayer? What kind of prayer?
Yeah, like, who are you praying to?
Oh,
and
the
I'm
Christian kind.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose prayer is a general term for communication, but
it's just like, why I don't know.
But why would you respond like that?
Right, why would you pick a fight? Like,
yeah.
Or
the
just
Christian
be like
kind.
skeptical or whatever. Just be like, okay, she prays, putting that in my back pocket for later, like, as I continue to build a relationship with a new person. But instead, you're just like, no, I gotta know what kind of prayer you do so that we can fight, maybe?
Yeah. Or, just know whether we can be friends or not.
Yeah.
And or you could read it as she's just excited that this person that she's friends with might also share her faith, which is fair, but she doesn't handle herself well.
If it is supposed to come off as excitement, Connie is not, but it's being played as skepticism.
Yeah.
Like, she's suddenly on edge from the idea that Penny prays.
Yeah.
And so she interrogates it, and
turns out that Dr. Trask, I think, is, well, it's what I put in my notes. Penny might call him Dr. Trask here.
Okay.
He's a Christian too, and he leads a Bible study on campus, to which I immediately thought, oh gosh, this man has a cult. This is bad.
Time will tell.
This is some Midsummer beginnings or whatever.
But yeah, I mean, if you don't read it as that, and you're just like, oh, cool, like, these two people that Connie met and is like, building relationships with are, part of a Christian group on campus, and that's cool.
Exciting and cool. And then we jump back to
because also it needs to be said that, like, you can't be friends with someone if you don't share their faith.
No, yeah, it's mandatory. Much like the vaccine, you gotta check, make sure they got the same microchip that you do, and everything lines up all right.
For sure. And Andrew and I, we've got matching microchips.
Yeah, we do. That's why the charisma on this show is so top tier. It's because we are actually communicating telepathically.
Oh, for sure. We're not just one person.
You too can join Johnson and Johnson gang.
This is the plug. Get vaccinated. Join us. So we also, we jump back again now, and this is where Tanner's filling everyone in. It was like Monty was working undercover in Des Moines. He came across this small counterfeiting thing and kind of got integrated there, and it wound up having ties to like this bigger, ring of counterfeiting that involved the stiletto. Right. And so this is maybe part of what's going on with Polehouse this episode, is they have to warm him up slightly in order to establish how cold Tanner is. Because
they might.
she is like, she has to, like, they have to share scenes together, and she has to be brutal, no nonsense, like all business.
Yeah.
And so it's like, all right, we got to give Polehouse a little bit of charm just to
Yeah.
hammer home how cold she is.
And she is ice cold without a pulse in the scene.
Yep. And so she's like, Monty went dark. Then all of a sudden he showed up here in Odyssey. I think like we're treating him as a rogue agent. We think that he turned because the money was too promising.
Yeah. The lure of the big money is just too
And
great.
Wit's just like, not my grandson, who I didn't know what his job was and
Yeah.
haven't spoken to on air in 20 years. Not him.
Certainly. I know. I know. He couldn't be involved in counterfeiting. Certainly no.
Yeah. And so, Wit's like, all right,
Not
like,
my
I'm gonna...
old friend's child that has a criminal history.
Right.
He couldn't be involved in anything skeptical.
No.
And if it is, just let kids be kids.
Right, for sure. That's the moral of Odyssey.
Yep.
And so, Wit, there's now this interesting interaction where Wit is like, setting up to, like, Tanner's going to send Wit home, have, and asks Polehouse to have officers follow him from a distance, and Polehouse is like, do you think we just are like made of officers here? And Wit's like, it'll be fine if I just go alone, I'll talk to him, whatever. And they're like, okay. And so Wit leaves, and immediately Polehouse is like, you're not going to let him go home alone. She's like, absolutely not. We'll have him followed.
Yeah.
Which I love and is great. And good call, Tanner. I appreciate it.
Taking care of Wit, obviously. And, by the way, Wit immediately calls Eugene.
Yeah. Yep.
No, there's no secrecy. Eugene is barely well, I guess he is. He's aware of the money, so.
Yeah, but
That helps
as
a little bit.
they're walking home, the door to Wit's house is open, and he's like, how did that happen? Couldn't possibly be that my grandson is inside. And then we end the episode.
Oh my gosh, my grandson. End of episode. What are you doing here? This was a completely unexpected surprise.
This is not the thing that I was trying to accomplish by going home.
Certainly not. Dun dun dun. End of episode. Shoehorn
End of
moral.
episode. Woohoo!
What's the moral for this one? Is it the same thing as all?
The moral for the whole saga is the same, but I didn't actually take notes on what Chris wrote down as like her little end of episode thing.
Let's see if I can guess just by probably more of the. Oh no, I remember. It's the what's gonna happen next. It's one of those ones.
Yeah. Yep. Right.
Yeah. Any other closing thoughts regarding the episode? I mean, I feel like it's been great, honestly.
Yeah.
As far
This
as
one is
Odyssey
just like moving plot along, but we get characters that like introduced that are cool. And yeah, it's setting up the dominoes to topple in the future.
Yeah. Well, and we get the fun different character interactions, like between Emily and Buck, and between Penny and Connie, and now with Wit and Polehouse and Tanner and all of that. Like it's
For sure.
It's fun. It's I am very with how much New Odyssey I've listened to, which isn't all of it, but definitely some, and how disappointed I've been in that. The Green Ring Conspiracy has held up so well. Like the music, the score, the transition, all of it. Like, I didn't think that it was going to occupy a Novacom-like space in my brain, but it does. I mean, it's definitely close, if not completely on the same level.
Yeah.
I definitely have more of it memorized than I did the Blackguard episodes, because I only listened to them once or twice. I probably still have more of Novacom memorized, because that's just probably in my DNA in some place.
All right. So, you got anything you're gonna plug this week, Andrew?
I'm gonna do the noble task that nobody else has ever done and say, get vaccinated.
Woohoo! Yeah, do
Yeah.
it. We are a fully vaccinated podcast, so join
That
us in
we
that shop
are.
squad.
Yeah, it's I mean, it's worth it. If you are concerned about it, your concerns are valid. There is information out there, but vaccines work, and it's the only way that things will get back to normal, in my opinion, and in that of general science, I believe. So,
Good selling point.
thank you.
Nice, clean, crisp plug.
Very, very crisp. What about you, Dylan? Do you have anything?
I guess I'm just gonna reiterate. Watch August Rush.
Yeah,
it's a good time. It has a killer soundtrack.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, if you want it's less. There's maybe less charm than the Buck and Mr. Skint relationship, but we're exploring similar dynamics.
It's got Robin Williams in it, so you know what you're getting
Robin
into
Williams.
with that. All right.
Yeah, so that's all she wrote, folks. And we will be back next week for episode 682, The Green Ring Conspiracy, Part 4.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
WadFam Chalk Pod is a presentation of the Lidditz Podcast Co-op. Follow the podcast at WadFam Chalk Pod on Twitter and Instagram, or email us at wadfamchalkpod@gmail.com. The Green Ring Conspiracy Part 3 was hosted by Dylan Weaver and Andrew Acebo, and edited by Dylan Weaver. And I'm Nathan Haverstick, hoping you'll join us again next time for more of the Wad Fam Chalk Pod.